Hey guys, today I'd like to talk about a more serious topic. It's a topic that I have to deal with on a daily basis. I want to talk about mental illness, and specifically bipolar disorder. I'm going to give you a definition and then a little description about what it's like to have it, because being that I have it, I know quite a lot about it. The definition in the Webster's New World Dictionary for bipolar is of or involving poles or polarity, having alternating periods of mania and mental depression. It's called bipolar because you have two poles, two opposite ends of the spectrum, two extremes in mood. The extreme high, which is mania, and the extreme low, which is depression. Everybody has positive and negative emotions, but when you're bipolar, these emotions are made extreme, they're amplified. So when you're sad, you hate everything and you wish you were dead. And when you're happy, you're jumping up and down with joy because you can't contain yourself. The stereotypical description of bipolar disorder is your mood can just change on a dime. Like, you're happy one minute, and then someone says something and you're angry, and then all of a sudden you're sad and you're crying, and then all of a sudden you're back to being happy. That's not really an accurate picture of what bipolar disorder is like, because yes, you go back and forth between two extreme moods, but they're not that quick to change. I mean, some people rapid cycle, which means you have more than 4 different phases in a year. When I was still at Concordia University, I rapid cycled, so 1 month I was depressed, 1 month I was manic, and then depressed and then manic. And so it went by very quickly. But for most people who are bipolar, it's a lot slower of a process. When you're depressed for like 6 months at a time. And then slowly you start to get manic, and then you're manic for 6 months at a time, and it just lasts forever. Yes, your emotions can change quickly, but they usually stay in that phase for quite a long time. In my case, most of the emotions I have are fake emotions. They're not real. They happen for absolutely no good reason. So something great could be happening to me. I could win the lottery, I could get a promotion at my job, everything good could be happening to me, but I'm so depressed. All I want to do is die, and nothing seems happy in the world. There is no hope, there is no future, there is no joy, there is only darkness. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, terrible things could be happening to me. I could fail a test, I could get fired, I could have someone that I love get really mad at me, and it's okay. I have an optimistic outlook on the future. It doesn't matter what happens because I'm going to smile and keep a positive attitude, and that's the way I'm going to get through life. What's with that? Now I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into the true poles, mania and depression, and describe some of the symptoms that you experience. I'll start with depression. This is from the DSM-5, which is the authority on mental illness. It's also compiled from things I learned in my psychology classes, and things I learned from my own experience, and things that I learned from therapy sessions. These are all things that usually fit into the category of depression. Depressed mood most of the day, diminished interest in pleasurable activities, or most daily activities. So like when I was depressed, I didn't want to do music anymore. I love music, and I was like, I don't feel like practicing. Ugh. Who cares about the trumpet anyway? Everything is a chore. Just getting out of bed is like, ugh. This requires more energy than I have. You wake up first thing in the morning, and you should be refreshed from a good night's sleep, but you're like, I want to go back to bed. There's significant weight loss or weight gain. It could go either way, because either you're so sad you stop eating, or you start to overeat. You get too much or too little sleep. Again, it could go either way, because you could be up all night thinking about these terrible things and not getting any sleep. Or you could oversleep because you want to sleep through these things and not have to face the harsh reality of the world. Usually I oversleep. Psychomotor agitation or retardation, everything seems slower. For me, when I'm at work and I'm working the cash register, if I'm depressed, I kind of hesitate, like, what do I do next? And sometimes I mess up the cash register because I can't concentrate, I can't focus, and my reflexes are slower. There's fatigue or loss of energy, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, pessimistic, gloomy outlook, difficulty concentrating or making decisions, recurring thoughts of death, or suicidal ideation or action. So a suicidal ideation is when you're obsessed with the thought of killing yourself and you think about it all the time, all the ways you can do it. When you're depressed, you seem to lose track of your routine. All of the simple daily things you take for granted every day go away. You don't have the energy or the motivation to brush your teeth, to do the dishes, to take a shower. Everything just seems overwhelming to you, and you lose track of that routine and you start to fall behind. Now, the way you come to a conclusion that you're depressed is by analyzing, how does this affect my daily life? Do these symptoms cause distress and impairment? Because everybody gets depressed sometimes. Everybody has these symptoms sometimes, but usually they happen because of a reason. Usually they go away within a few days as soon as whatever's happening clears up, and usually they aren't very extreme. Everybody gets depressed, but not everybody has depression. Now, on the other side, mania. This is the side where you actually start to act like a crazy person, because you are very obviously not normal and you do not fit into society. In mania, you experience elation or an elevated mood. You're so happy all the time. Everything excites you. But at the same time, you get very agitated and irritable. So things are going great, you're so happy, and then someone says something and all of a sudden you're quick to snap at them. Inflated sense of self-esteem or grandiosity. You think you're great and you can do great things and you're going to go out and make the world a better place. Decreased need for sleep. More talkative than usual or pressured speech. So you talk really fast, you talk really loud. If you're in a conversation with something, they may feel like you're not letting them get a word in edgewise because you're just so excited and talking about everything, and you jump to different topics because you don't stay on any one topic very long because your mind is just running and running and running. There's a flight of ideas or racing thoughts, distractibility, increase in goal-directed activity, like starting new big projects, sexual promiscuity, spending money wildly and irresponsibly, risk-taking behavior, so like speeding on the highway, or just doing dangerous things that could get you into trouble. And the textbook description of risk-taking behavior is excessive involvement in pleasurable activities that have a high potential for painful consequences. True dat. So that is a basic definition of what bipolar disorder is, and a taste of what the two poles are like. There are also some subcategories in these two major poles, like hypomania, which means just a little bit of mania, not too much. It's when you get all the positive, goal-oriented, optimistic, productive, efficient, happy. You get all of those positive traits, but you don't move into the extreme highs where you're doing risky things and acting like a real crazy person. So people like to be hypomanic. It is them at their best self. And then there's the dreaded mixed state. This is when you're both depressed and manic at the same time. And that doesn't seem possible. How can you be super depressed and super happy at the same time? But it's a thing. It's a thing, and I have felt it. And it is weird, let me tell you. Because not only do you want to kill yourself, but now you have the energy to do it. It's one of the most dangerous states. You could rapid cycle between the two poles when you're in a mixed state very quickly. You're unhappy, but you also have the edgy energy and agitation, which isn't fun. I may do some videos in the future describing more of my personal experience with it, where it's a little bit more relatable and I describe certain events and stories that have happened. Okay, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something from me today. If anything, I hope you learned how to be more understanding of other people and what they're going through, because the one thing depression has taught me, most of all, is that at my lowest, in the darkest of times, I can understand the pain of other people and how they feel. Yay! Mental illness teaches you something! Okay, bye.